Good morning, Cross Church family. As you may have guessed, it's time for another installment of my podcast, Cup of Joan with Brandon Bowen. Just kidding. It's not a podcast. I don't have any sponsors other than Jesus, and I'm afraid he's probably more of a nonprofit kind of guy. Nonetheless, what I will be talking about this morning is adversity. And so we will start with the book of Daniel. And it is from chapter 3, verse 8 through 28. Very famous story, of course, about the fiery furnace. It's starting in 8. At this time, some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May the king live forever. Your majesty has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the image of gold, and that whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your majesty." I think these guys were a little jealous. "They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up." Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude toward them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and throw them into the blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent, and the furnace so hot, that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, your majesty." He said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. Verse 27. And the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. The robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be cut into pieces, and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. And that's Daniel 3, 8 through 30 from the NIV. And the thing I find the most interesting about it, obviously, it talks about how through their faith they were protected, physically protected, and a great miracle was performed through that. But the thing I find the most interesting, and I don't know if it's overlooked or not, but if you go to 25, and Nebuchadnezzar says, he said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." And my takeaway from that is this: as much as it's real and it's factual and it was about the physical moment, I think there's also a metaphor there that says we can walk in freedom through the fire, whatever fires around us. Obviously, this past year and a half has been a time of adversity for a lot of us. I know myself included, especially. It's been rough at times to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I know that through faith, I'm always provided for. We've been provided for. We've been very blessed in this time. And just recently, just to give you an idea, we were very blessed to have a nearly free trip to Destin, Florida. All we had to pay for was food, really. And so my wife and I went down to Destin with a friend of the family, because she's always wanted to go there. Heather's always been about seeing that white beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. But we had a little bit of adversity of our own on the way. On the way there, driving through some pretty serious rain, and a Schneider truck actually cut me off. I'm halfway up the trailer of this truck, and he just comes over into my lane, and I had to pull off, and literally had to pull off to the side of the road to keep from getting smashed. And first and foremost, well, not foremost, but in fun, it's proof once again that orange is a terrible color. For all those paying attention, you may remember that Schneider trucks are orange. All I got to say to that is boomer. But as the trip went on, something else did come up. That Thursday that we were there, we were down at the beach. I'm in the ocean, and my sunglasses that I'd had, well, basically, I guess they melted, and they're going to be repaired under warranty. But so I had to wear my regular glasses in the ocean. I had some flips. I looked like old school 1985 going on out there. And the surf was coming in pretty hard, because if you've been watching the news, you realize that there was a tropical storm that came on shore very near to there. And so there was quite a bit of rip, and the waves were breaking pretty hard. And I was doing fine out there, but I turned around to get away from one wave, and off came the glasses, just sucked straight off of my face. And if you know me, you know I'm very myopic. I'm extremely nearsighted. And if it means anything to you, I'm about a -8, which means, in layman's terms, I'm blind as a bat. And so anyway, all I could see down in the water was the flips. And I thought, oh, I got lucky. And I reached down there, and it was just the flips. The glasses were no longer attached. And now they are part of geologic time somewhere on a beach in Florida. So kind of going back in my life a little bit, in a moment such as that, I would have just lost my mind. There's a joke in our family that I would have taken flight, because my hands would have been swinging and I just would have been hopping mad. Indeed, there was a time in my life where I did have an issue with responding to adversity like that. Now, this is a funny story, and it's nowhere near real adversity. Obviously, nowhere near the fiery furnace. But I remember a time we were camping. This was probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I'm being taught how to play dominoes. And a friend of the family was very good at it, and he could tell me what I had. And as I'm trying to learn how to do this, it just incredibly frustrated me, and I absolutely lost it. I was convinced he was using sorcery and he was cheating and all this stuff. And of course, he was using sorcery. It happened to be math. But I lost it. I literally flipped the table over and dominoes went flying, and I just acted the fool. It was absolutely not one of my shining moments. But as time has gone on, God has dealt with me uh, with my fits of rage. I know it may seem hard to believe, but yes, I've had fits of rage in my life. And it was just so funny as I'm walking back on shore from the beach down in Florida with no glasses on, blind as a bat. I mean, I'm literally anything beyond 6 inches from my face, I'm blind. And I'm walking back to the seat, and I said, "Sorry, honey, I ruined your vacation." She looked at me and she's like, "Where are your glasses?" I said, "They're out there somewhere." And our friend spent about an hour looking for them to no avail, which is kind of funny because she'd found like 3 or 4 pair of sunglasses the day before. But in that moment, I realized I remained calm, kept the faith. I sat down and I prayed that she would find them, and if she didn't, then we would get it figured out. Heather got on the phone. She called Art Express and our eye doctor here in Norman, and they faxed over my prescription. And long story short, I had a new pair of glasses within 2 hours. And I'm just so thankful, because this is on no account of my own, that the Lord helped me to remain calm in that moment and not wig out. He's taught me patience. He's taught me just how to remain rooted in his faith, in our faith, and to not take flight, but to dig in my heels and stand in that faith. And knowing that he will always take care of us, he will always provide for us, he will always make a way. And that's truly what happened in this case. And so I just wanted to share that with you this morning, and just let you know that any adversity that you're facing, God will mature us through that. And I speak very much to myself on that deal. I have been blessed to have been matured and calmed, and I've really learned some tough lessons this last year and a half, and I just thank him for them. If you'll pray with me. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your word, and we thank you for your providence and for the lessons that you teach us in patience, in overcoming adversity, in learning to rely on you and trust in you, even when things seem out of our hands. We always know that they are in your hands. And I just praise you, and I just thank you this morning. And I just lift up my church body to you, and I ask that you continue to bless us, and that you continue to always provide. And I ask this in your Son's precious holy name. Amen. Y'all have a great day.